Now, the other type of compounds that we are going to name is molecular compounds, or what we simply call molecules. Those consist of non-metals only. Those are non-metals only. So be aware of that fact. Non-metals only. So meaning that on your periodic table, you will find these elements in this compound on the right side. So again, they should be on the right side. If you see a metal, then you're no longer dealing with molecular compounds. So be aware of that. They're actually quite easy to name, so long that you remember this chart right here. The rules go like this. The first element in the name is named first using the full element name. So if you have oxygen, you call it oxygen. If you have carbon, you call it carbon. If you have sulfur, you call it sulfur. The second element is named as if it were an anion. What does that mean? It means you add IDE. So you can't just call it now oxygen, something oxygen. You have to call it oxide. You have to call it nitride. You have to call it sulfide, phosphide, chloride, whatever it is, just like the monatomic ions. Prefixes are used to denote the number of atoms present. So here they are. If you have one atom, you call it mono. If you have two, you call it di. 3 tri, 4 tetra, all the way to 10, which is deca. So commit to memorizing this right here. You're actually going to need it, not only this, but outside of this class as well. The last thing is the prefix mono is never used for naming the first element. So you'll never call something mono, let's say monocarbon. You just call it carbon if it's one. So you cannot start with mono. So let's start with this one. Do we have both of these elements on the right side so we can use this system? And the answer is, let's go to the periodic table. And the answer is yes, I do. I have both of them. I have carbon right here, and I have oxygen. And these are what? Non-metals. So I'm going to use this system. And you're not going to use the sheet, by the way, for this. So you're not going to use these anymore. These are only reserved for anions and cations, ionic compounds, because the bonding is different. The bonding is based on covalent bonding, sharing. So we say, yep, carbon is a metal, as a non-metal, and oxygen is a non-metal. They're right there. Then you name the first element. It's called carbon. Now 2, right here, 2 is di. And we said has to be end with ide, and this is oxygen, so it would be called dioxide. So that's where the name comes from, carbon dioxide. So the next one is, do I have both nonmetals? Do I have, is the nitrogen a nonmetal? Yes, it comes after carbon if we were to show it, and then oxygen. So yes, you have to use this system. But then you ask yourself, how many nitrogens do I have? So I have a 2. So that would be di-nitrogen. Okay. You use a full element name. You don't say dinitride, only if it ends with that. And then you have 4. That would be tetra oxide. Now, since you have an A and an O that comes after this is really not a big deal. We tend to drop the A, so we just call it tetroxide for linguistic reasons. I mean, you know, you don't want an A and an O following each other like vowels. So you have dinitrogen tetroxide. The confusion with these is, again, students think there are multiple ones, so they go and name them using the ionic compound. So you cannot do that. So do not mix them. Do not mix both systems. Next, we have disulfur hexachloride. So disulfur, meaning if I have disulfur, means I have two sulfurs. Chloride is a Cl, so this is 2. Hexa means 6, Cl6. Dinitrogen, N, that's 2. Monoxide, mono means 1, so it's just NO. And this is laughing gas. That's it.